If you guys are in industrial marketing, you've been struggling with what is your strategy for paid advertising? Does it actually work in my industry and for my company? Then on this episode, I'm going to break down the traditional and common ways that people have been doing it and where you should focus your attention.
Gladiator in this art of war. What you think that I've been fighting for? Got a cape on like a superhero. They rushing at me like a matador. Nah, I don't need your energy. I don't need the negativity. I'm just trying to bring my people up. Promise y'all I got the remedy. Straight to the roof, tell them we bringing the troops. We got a little surprise, you thinking that we ain't the truth. We give it 120, we never make an excuse. So go run and tell everybody down that we coming for you.
So let's jump right into it. What is the purpose of paid advertising, right? What's the main purpose? For you marketers out there, you may think like, oh, it's so that way, we can get to the top of things, so we can get more traffic, so we can get more leads, things like that. But if you break it down, the main purpose of advertising is simply speed. You simply want to do something faster. So you're doing things, they're not working as well as you'd hope that they'd work. They're not moving quick enough. So you're like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to throw some dollars at it. I'm going to run some paid ads and get that traffic in as fast as possible, which is great. And I 100% agree with you. Paid advertising, the focus behind it is the speed. But let's look at like the common methods that people have been doing paid advertising in industrial. The first one's going to be trade shows. So you've spent, what do you got, 10 by 10 booth or 100 by 100 booth? You spent $5,000 to $100,000 to go to a trade show, right? So that's a form of paid advertising. But really what I want to look at is once you say I'm going to this trade show, then the trade show is going to be like, dude, you guys need to advertise with us. You need a front page ad. You need a full page ad in the show program. You need pre-show marketing campaigns. We want to put you at the bottom of our email list and our distribution and banners outside and all that stuff. But does it actually work? In my experience, in the last 6 years of owning MFG Tribe, the industrial marketing agency, and even before that, when I was directly in your guys' shoes doing what you do, I've never really seen it work all that well. Now, do trade shows work? Yes, to a certain degree, right? If you're really bullish against trade shows and you really monitor exactly dollar for dollar that you've spent, can you say it was worth it? A lot of times, yes. If you're doing 1 or 2 trade shows, but people are doing 6, 8, 10 trade shows, it's usually not worth it. Where the trade show wants to make money is they got you on the booth and they got you at the show. Where they want to make their money is on that additional things. So it's like the upsell opportunities. When people get a show program, what do they typically do with it? Are they flipping through the show program saying, oh, who do I want to visit at this show? Who's at the show? No, they're not. They've already got their plan. They know who they're going to see. If there's somebody specific, they know who's going to be there. They've gotten emails ahead of time. They've looked at the exhibitor list. They know where people are. They look at the map. And that's pretty much all that people are interested in when they're going to a trade shows. And then they walk the show. They're not flipping through the show program saying, oh, look at this nice full page ad that company probably spent $3,500 on to be in the show program. I'm going to go and visit them because I had no idea who they are, what they do, but now they've piqued my interest and I want to go and visit them. That usually does not happen. It's a complete, in my opinion, waste of money to spend money on that. When you are going to a trade show, the area to spend the money on is going to be the list of attendees and going after specific people and saying, I want to purchase this list from you of 2,000 people, 1,000 people, 500 people. I want to purchase a list of their contact name, title, where they work at, what's their email address and phone number if possible. And then usually they say, what are they interested in at this trade show? And then check those boxes. You want to pay for something like that. And that will be a lot cheaper than going after a show program ad spot. So the next common thing that we're going to look at is media purchasing. So media from the standpoint, traditional industrial marketing, manufacturing marketing guys, when I talk about media, they're talking about magazines. Okay, same thing with the trade show programs. You cannot quantify. I don't care if ABC Machining Publication says we've got 75,000 engineers that subscribe to our physical print magazine every single month or quarter, or how often they print it. But can they quantify that and say, you just spent $10,000 to have an ad space or $5,000 to have an ad space on that print magazine? Can they tell you how many people actually look at it? They can't. They can say that it went out to this many people. This is how many people received it. This is how many people are on our list, but they can't tell you how many people looked at your stuff. Then they go digital, right? So a lot of these media typical companies, the magazines and stuff like that are like, no, we have a digital version now, so we can tell you. Yeah, but can they tell you who it was? They can't. They can tell you, oh, well, we think it's this person from this company. They clicked an email or something like that. But they all they can say is maybe if they saw what it was that you were in that magazine, but are they tracking that to your website? Are they tracking clicks? Are you then looking at these people came from this referral source to my website? And then once they hit my website, they looked at this many pages, spent this much time on their site. Usually not. Usually you guys aren't looking at it. And usually the publication company is not providing you with that. It's just all fluffy numbers and big KPIs of like, we're going to send it to 75,000 people. And then unfortunately, the industrial companies sit there and like, oh my God, my stuff got seen by 65,000 people, which is just not true. So that's another common area. So we got trade shows and we got media publications. The last one is going to be Google. Okay. Google advertising. So you've got search, Google search, and then you've got display. Display is like retargeting and images that show up in ad space on other websites that you visit. And Google search can be very beneficial. That is probably the only area that I would say that most companies spend money on advertising. When they first talk to us from a discovery call, they're like, hey, we spend 2,500 bucks, 5,500 bucks a month on Google ads. I'd say that most of the time that's a smart place to be, but usually their budget is way overkill. And that's simply because they're taking the advice of the advertising company. A lot of times agencies charge a flat fee to manage it, and it's based on a certain dollar range that they spend a month. So if you're spending between $1,000 to $5,000 a month on advertising, most of the time, those advertising agencies are like, all right, we're going to charge you 750 bucks a month or $1,000 a month to create, manage, and optimize those ads and report on them. And then they want you to spend more money because the more money that you spend, the more dollars they can charge you to manage it. Whereas here at MFG Tribe, we're the exact opposite. What you have to understand about Google Ads is not a linear curve in regards to the dollars that you spend and the performance that you get. It is a bell curve. So it goes up, it peaks, and it comes down. The key part of optimization is finding where at the top of that bell curve is the best place for you're spending the least amount of dollar and getting the most amount of results, right? And so what we do when we take on a new client, we typically drop the budget down significantly, sometimes 50%, and then creep back up to find that bell curve. And usually it's 20, 30, 40% cheaper than what they were paying a month with their other agency, because at the end of the day, we don't want to spend dollars if you don't have to. And so Google ads and display and retargeting marketing can work for advertising dollars, but for most companies in the, let's say 20 million to 200, 300 million a year in revenue, are typically spending less than I'd say $5,000 a month on Google ads. And that's a good kind of top budget to have. I would much rather tell a company to go into Google ads than focus on trade shows or print publications. So those are the three most common that I see. You guys may be saying like, oh, what about social? We'll get to social. The next thing that I want to talk about is focusing on the organic side. So paid advertising is to take time out of the equation and just go with speed. If you're not currently organically ranking for a search phrase, if you're at page 10 or page 100 or page 3 of Google and you want to show up first because you want those people that are searching to hit you first, and then you're going to spend money on Google ads. And I totally agree with that to a certain extent. You want to also at the same time, don't just say, I'm going to spend money on ads so I don't spend money on organic. You want to focus as much, if not more attention on organic side of optimizing your on-page SEO, focusing on off-page SEO, focusing on making sure that your themes and keywords and phrases that you're going after are a good fit, and then tracking and monitoring that on a weekly, daily, monthly basis is the important part, because that's a long-term play. If you want to go after a keyword that has somewhat difficult, let's say medium difficultiness to rank high for, you want to start today to get the results in 30, 60, 90 days from now. In this industry, there's not 50,000 people searching a month for what it is that you do for the most part, unless you're in like 3D printing and 3D type space, there's higher search volumes. But for the most part, you're looking at less than a couple of thousand searches a month. So you've got a lot of people going after that. But most people aren't paying attention to it. They're like, I'm not going to focus on organic. I'm just going to do paid ads. But you got to focus on organic. If not as much, then more to get that ball rolling. We've got tons of videos on the YouTube channel talking about how to optimize for on-page SEO. What are the most important things to look at? Those are great resources. Go over to my channel and check those out to dive deeper into the SEO side. So what is the strategic campaign that I would personally recommend? So I would say first and foremost, you have to be focusing on organic. And guys, just a reminder, leave your comments and questions and things like that in the comment box so that way we can get to them once we're done with this segment and answer anything you guys have, whether it's industrial marketing, sales, technical sales, business, whatever. So the first thing you're going to look at is you want to focus on the organic side with your on-page SEO and focus on the organic reach. And organic doesn't just mean Google. Organic also means on social, LinkedIn, posting 5 days a week on your company page, teaching your employees how to build out and grow their network, and pushing the brand out there as much as possible, because all that is free. Now, if you're paying an agency like MFG Tribe to do it for you, it's obviously not free, but it's minimal when it comes to compared to the amount of money that you can waste on advertising. So if the base foundation fundamentals are we're already doing organic, we're already pushing organic SEO and organic on social, then you're going to want to spend some money on Google from a search standpoint. And what I would do is I would start with like $700 to maybe $1,000 and be extremely strategic and bullish against any sort of broad phrase match and broad keyword match. You want to only focus on a very strategic, targeted group of people. You want to have things in place with geography restrictions. You do not, the thing with Google search is you don't know the intent behind why the person is searching. So if you don't know why they're searching, you may think, oh, they're searching, a machine shop near me because they want to hire a machine shop near me. They're not. They could be doing research. They could be doing competitive stuff. They could be looking to sell you something. There's a million different reasons why somebody could be Google searching something, and you don't want to just pigeonhole yourself and say, I know that they're searching for my business, so I want to show up for that all the time. Because most of the time, the money that you waste on Google search campaigns is far exceeds the money that you're actually spending that's bringing in quality resources. So you want to do a strategic campaign. Like I said, I'd say no more than $1,000. You can even start with like $200, $300, and be very specific on the phrases and the searches. And then also pause those things on weekends. So you're not, you may think, oh, so many people are doing weekend searches. I would pause those to start with until you can prove it with data to say that the people coming on the weekend are actually quality things. And so once you start that campaign, you need to look at your Google Analytics, which is tied to your website. And as long as your Google Ads campaign is tied to your Google Analytics account and it's linked, then you can see I spent this much money, this many people clicked it, they came to my website, what percentage of people bounced? Because a lot of times it's like 95%, 92%, 98% of people bounce, which means they came to your website and then left right away. That's just a complete waste of money then. So you want to focus on high quality traffic. You want it below 90%. You want it below 80%. You want to have the click-through rate and the conversion rate over 2, 3, 4, 5%, because that means that you're getting the right people. And then you want to talk to your sales team and say, guys, are you getting, like, I've seen these leads come through. You talk to them, these good quality leads. Yes, they are, or no, they're not. And then adjust and adapt. So you can definitely do Google search. Retargeting is cheap. Retargeting is basically taking traffic that comes to your site. Once they leave your site, you set up criteria saying they've seen these many pages or they've spent this much time on my website. Then when they go to other websites, they're going to see this graphic of ours or this display ad that says like ABC company, best in the world in this, or a logo of your company with a link to your website. They're going to see that on the Google search display partner network. And no matter where they go on the internet, there's always spots for ads, and they will see that. And that's basically just trying to remind them, hey, you were here. Don't forget about us. So it's good to have some sort of retargeting campaign in place. But something like that, you're talking about, unless you have thousands of hits a month to your website, which a lot of you may have, you're talking about maybe a couple $100 a month spent on Google search, or Google display retargeting. So not a huge amount of dollars spent to it. So it's fine to turn it on and see how it works and then turn it back off. The next area is going to be looking at things on social. I've talked about this on so many of our LinkedIn episodes. LinkedIn advertising, specifically the display advertising that shows up when you're sitting on your phone or on your desktop and you're scrolling through your feed every like, it starts with a second post, and then it's like every 7 to 9 posts from there is a promoted post, and it's a display ad. Those things work extremely well because you can control who they go to. So Google search, you don't know the intent behind the people. On LinkedIn, they're not searching for you. You're just showing something that's relevant to entice them to click. LinkedIn advertising is better than Google from that standpoint because you can control the creative, you can control where they go to, and you can also control who sees it. Whereas on Google, you're just basically saying, I want to send them to this page on my website because it's relevant. And here's a search phrase. And if somebody searches it and they click it, then they should be, looking to go to that. And a lot of times they're not. They just click back right away. So with LinkedIn, you can target even specific companies, 100 companies, 150 companies, only certain people within those companies. You can get extremely detailed in your search list of who you want to market this to. And because of that, it is expensive. Okay. So something that you're spending 40 cents or $2 or $5 on per click on Google search, you can be spending $6, $8, $12 on LinkedIn, depending on who you're going after and where you want to show up in their feed. If you know that people aren't spending 20 minutes scrolling through their feed on LinkedIn, then you want to show up near the top. And I've got videos on my YouTube channel talking about LinkedIn advertising in depth and how to optimize it and how to go after those people. So definitely check those out. But you want to obviously stay at the top as people are searching and coming through. And a lot of times people are like, I'm just going to spend $3 a click, $4 a click. Well, you're way at the bottom. They'd have to scroll for like 5 minutes to see your ad. It's just not worth it. Now you only get paid if they click, which is good. It's not if they just see it. You only get paid if they click. But that is the most strategic and targeted way to say these people at these companies with this job function in this geographic region, when they come on LinkedIn, they're going to see this ad. You can't beat it. We manage multiple campaigns for our clients now. They do perform the best, but they are the most expensive. So on LinkedIn campaigns, you're gonna be looking at spending a minimum of $1,500 to $2,000 a month just to get your feet wet and get started, and then optimize it from there. Spend maybe $3, $4, $5,000 a month could be good for you if you're selling a high dollar product or a high dollar service. But that's really where, in my opinion, the most strategic PPC campaigns are going to be focusing on Google strategically and specifically, and then also or in place of doing things on LinkedIn with the display promoted things, not the text on the side. In-mails do work. We do in-mail campaigns for some of our clients. They do work. They're cheaper than a lot of systems out there because you're looking at like $1 to maybe $1.20 per send. But if you can only focus on Google and LinkedIn, that's going to be the best bet. If you don't have a team to do it for you, reach out to us at MFG Tribe. Go to our website. You can chat with Greta and we can set up a discovery call. If you're like, I'm already on Google, but I don't understand LinkedIn, we can get you set up with it very quickly, very easily, and manage your campaigns and do all the creative behind it. So that's it for the bulk of this content. So recapping it up, we're talking about just advertising for manufacturing companies, focusing away from the common ways of trade shows, publications, and just doing blind Google searches. Really be strategic. Focus on your organic search and your organic stuff on social. And then if you are going to go into a specific campaign, then Google search at a minimum dollar amount, starting off with less than 1,000. And possibly if you have a higher budget than that, looking at some LinkedIn advertising campaigns, those are going to be the best methods for you to go forward into 22. So if you got value out of this episode, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube, follow me on LinkedIn, share it with people that you know. Stay tuned for our weekly content, and we will see you on the next one.